Infrastructure, the leader of the Ekurhuleni Metro, the leader of the delegation from SAPS. Greetings to you all at this cold morning. Please bear with me if I don't open up my video. I don't know what is wrong with my router here. The network is not stable, not at all. Honorable members, Minister, Deputy Minister, we are reconvening this meeting to deal with the issue of Brackendowns petition that was forwarded to the National Assembly by Honorable Bodlani on behalf of that community, dealing with the issue of the police station that is located there, which is in a state that is not conducive to conduct the business of a police station.
Recording in progress.
This is the third meeting. We first had a meeting in which we heard from Honorable Bodlani. In that meeting, there was a report from SAPS. There was also a report from Ekurhuleni municipality. The week before the last one, we had a follow-up meeting because as the portfolio committee, we ought to prepare a report after having engaged you as the stakeholders that are involved in that, and take that report to the parliament, because it is the parliament that forwarded this petition to us. So we have a responsibility as the parliament and the committee of parliament to hear all the stakeholders in this issue, to compile a report which will submit it to parliament. So that is why we can let this when we are not satisfied with the information that we had. But I want to raise this, though I'm not sure whether the minister is in, but I believe if the minister is not in, the deputy minister is in. The report of the department, it only arrived yesterday at 3:12. Mr. Lwazi, who is our acting secretary, has been communicating with us since the weekend that he has not yet received the report from the department, because we have the report of the city of Ekurhuleni, we have the report from SAPS, and in fact, they even presented last time. The report that has been missing is the one of the department, but we did receive it, though it was late, but we felt that, okay, it has been submitted it has been forwarded to Lwazi and it's submitted to us. Honorable members, we will therefore deal with this, though it was submitted late. We have asked that at least 3 days or 2 days before the meeting, can we have a report so that we engage, we analyze it before we come to the meeting. But we will accept that, though it has been submitted late, we accept it. Do we have any apologies, Mr. Lwazi?
Good morning, Chairperson. Chair, the only apology that I have received is from Honorable Petition and the Deputy Minister of Police. Those are the two apologies that I have received.
Okay, let me try the video. Thank you so much, Lwazi. We will accept those apologies. We don't have any apology from our own members.
No, so no, Chairperson, I haven't received one, Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. We will then allow the department to present, and we asked that before this meeting, the department should try to acting DG try to ensure that the city of Ekurhuleni, the SAPS and the department, they meet so that some of the allegations that are coming from both sides are ironed out before we come to this meeting. Because in the last meeting that we had, the reason why we requested for this follow-up, when Honorable Bodlani was presenting, saying that City of Ekurhuleni is saying this, when the department was presenting, they were saying that this is not true. So we don't want that thing of pointing fingers to each other. What we want as the portfolio committee is to find a solution that will assist the community of Brackendowns and in fact the country as a whole, because we all know that we have a challenge when it comes to crime. I think in one of the meetings we indicated that our police stations should have an environment that is conducive so that the business of the day is done. And I think in 2 days after our meeting, we appreciated that the minister was opening some of the police stations that have been refurbished and there in Gauteng, but not to this one. Honorable Minister, over to you.
No, thanks, Honorable Chair. May I take this opportunity to extend my greetings to all of you and greet you, the Chair, and all members, the Deputy Minister as well. We would like to apologize that the report was received late. We will check as to why and how did that happen, and we will take that very serious. We know it is not good, it is not professional, and we should have given the report on time, and we really apologize for that. May I hand over to the acting DG to take us through the report. Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable members. Good morning, Minister and Deputy Minister and my colleagues that are on the platform. After the engagement previously, the one big thing that we took from the engagement was that instead of having 3 different presentations, it would be a good thing for the 3 parties involved to have a one meeting where we can present from one voice instead of having 3 different presentations like the chairperson had said. I have with me on the platform Mr. Maurice Mabinja, who is the acting Deputy Director General responsible for real estate management services, who will be taking us through the presentation. Chairperson, with your permission, if Maurice can be given sharing rights for the presentation. Thank you. Maurice, are you here?
Yes, I am here. I'm just waiting for the sharing rights so that I can quickly put it up. Good morning to the chairperson of the portfolio committee, honorable members of the committee, minister, deputy minister, and acting DG, and colleagues. I would be going through this presentation. Let me quickly put it up. This will stop. Okay. It's not me who's sharing it though. I thought I wanted control. Sorry?
Do you have sharing rights?
Let me see again. This will stop the screening sharing. Do you want to continue? If you stop sharing, I think I'll be able to share. It's still not me who's sharing. Okay, can I share now? I think that is me. Thank you. Chairperson, we did, as the acting DG has already indicated, that we did meet immediately after the last meeting of the Portfolio Committee together with Public Works, Ekurhuleni, as well as SAPS. We met on the 22nd of May, and then we engaged together in terms of wanting to clear certain disputes that which were raised during the said meeting. And therefore, that is the purpose of today, that we just want to reflect quickly on the recommendations that the Portfolio Committee did on the day, as well as deal with certain issues that which were raised in the meeting of the 22nd February, as well as 17 May 2023, respectively. The very first issue was for us to engage and resolve those disputes that that emerged on the day, particularly from the side of Ekurhuleni about the area rentals that which they were appearing from their side. And then from our side, it was also the issue of making sure that those area rentals are cleared from our books. And then hence we had the said meeting. And then also we were quite aware that we needed to not to go back to the historical issues that which were presented in various times to the Portfolio Committee, but to be solution driven and make sure that we focus on the solutions and address the challenges. And then that is why this presentation will be quite brief, because it is more not about the historical matters, but it's more about what we're going to do to make sure that the matters which have been risen have been addressed. And then also to present it as a joint presentation to the committee, because we have met and then we agreed that it should be one presentation from all three different institutions. Basically, the first one was the issue of us having engaged as the three institutions, and then we dealt with the issues of the rental disputes that which were raised in the previous meeting. And then there is an agreement amongst the officials in Ekurhuleni Metro as well as Public Works that there is an existing valid lease between DPW and the city of Ekurhuleni. The contract which was signed in 2019 and then which is for a 9-year, 11-month period and expiring in 2028 at a monthly rental amount of 24,500 with an escalation of 7%. Therefore, the copy of the lease agreement or lease arrangement that which was concluded, it was also shared with the colleagues of Ekurhuleni. Therefore, that is, it then replaces the one that which they presented the last time, which I think it emanated from 2011, but it was then substituted by the 2019 lease contract between the department as well as Ekurhuleni Metro. The total extent which was reflected on this lease contract is that 3,023 square meters in terms of the total size of the police stations that which we are leasing. And then also the DPW has made a process a payment in line with this specific lease contract. And then also the DPW from our side as well as the city of Ekurhuleni have agreed on that meeting of the 22nd that the following day we would meet and make sure that we go through the various payments that which were made and make sure that whatever that which was not recorded accordingly is then our records, they do agree with each institution. Therefore, that meeting did take place, Honorable Chair and members, between ourselves and Ekurhuleni, and then we dealt with the issues of the area rentals, and then the reconciliations that which had to be undertaken. That was done. And then there are also, as we met on the day, we also dealt with the issue of the transfer of the land or the purchasing of the land that which the police station is built on. But with the developments that which came through from the immovable asset register, that this specific land is not owned by the municipality, Ekurhuleni municipality, but it is owned by DPWI based on the Honeycomb commission that which the report that which was issued at the early days of the democracy. But these are erroneously, these kind of sites were erroneously transferred to the municipalities when at a time when the townships were put under the custodianship of the municipality concerned, and also the sites where the police station are were also transferred erroneously to those specific municipalities. However, we still want a conclusive list of all these cases from the asset register so that we can begin now to engage the municipality concerned across the country and make sure that all those ones that were erroneously transferred to municipalities, they come back to public works. But the document itself, the Derek Honeycomb report, it also confirms that these have to be transferred back to public works at no cost to the department. Therefore, the new developments that which I've just narrated, now they nullify all the recommendations that which were made by the feasibility report that was undertaken in September 2022 to acquire the property, and also the Land Affairs Board outcome of December 2018. Which was actually giving an indication as to how much this property can be acquired from the municipality. Therefore, the recommendations that we together as the three institutions, SAPS, Ekurhuleni, as well as DPWI, during the meeting that which we had, we undertook to commit to the following, that the process of transferring back the property, therefore, there ought to be a letter that which must be received by Metro, which must actually be dispatched on 23, that confirms that indeed this property is one of those ones that were erroneously transferred to the municipality. And then also from their side, they will put through the submission for the municipal council resolution in September 2023. And then expect the council resolutions to be issued to transfer the land back in February 2024. And then they will therefore be required to appoint the conveyancing attorneys to make sure that they do the conveyancing and then the transfer process back to public works. And then we think that it would actually take us up until June 2025. Be that as it may, but the issue of us having access to the property in order to do what we needed to do can actually be given as soon as the council resolution is granted. Then that is expected to be in February, and then in March we can actually be given a permission to occupy and construct on the property. Therefore, that which is now kind of required is the council resolution, that which would actually put this property back to the custodianship of the Department of Public Works. There are other properties which are mainly not listed from the Ekurhuleni. There are those ones which are not listed and then which we may actually have to, together with all other municipalities across the country. And then we also thought that we would have to put kind of a process in terms of how we would need to acquire those properties. And then we thought SAPS must actually provide us with a list, which they had initially provided us in 2018. But we said that list must be actually looked at again, and so that we can be confirmed, it can be confirmed that these are the properties where they would want us to acquire. And then we look at the budget as well to acquire those ones back, because they are not within, but they are to be acquired from municipalities. And then the DPW and the city of Ekurhuleni will agree on the MOU for those particular properties where we would need SAPS to construct or to have their offices. And then the list of the properties in the MOU must be subjected also to valuation, as we have done. And then the feasibility reports must actually be issued. And also the Land Affairs Board must review the valuations and determine the value of the asset, so that when we do the budget requests, we may actually align ourselves with what the Land Affairs Board has given as the valuation report. And in line with that approved budget, DPW in consultation with SAPS, then we will conclude the process of acquisition. For those ones, we're actually looking at the next financial year, that they ought all to be concluded by SAPS as well as the Department of Public Works. I think that is basically that which we have agreed upon on both fronts, in terms of those ones that are listed by us, and then those ones that are not listed by us, but have to be transferred back to the department. Thank you, Chair and honorable members.
Thank you, Chairperson. Over to you.
Thank you, Acting DG. Thank you, Minister, for this presentation, and also to the partners, SAPS and City of Ekurhuleni, that we appreciate that you had our call that said, please meet before coming to this meeting. I will then invite honorable members to interact with the report. On my side, I can see the hand of Honorable Hicklin, Honorable Siwisa, Honorable Trink. Those are the only hands that I can see now. Honorable Hicklin.
Thank you so much, Chair. May I ask that the presentation be taken down so that we can go back to a normal screen? I'll continue in the interim. The first question that is on my mind that has not been answered at all by the presentation, I know that it was addressed, is there still money owed by the DPWI to the city of Ekurhuleni? Because as was noted by myself in a council meeting in the city of Ekurhuleni held on the 30th of March 2023, an amount of 1.6 million rand was still owed by DPWI. I know that you sat down and you had a reconciliation of accounts, but nobody has answered the question of, does the DPWI still owe money to the city of Ekurhuleni? It really is quite concerning, because there are a number of police stations around the country who may be suffering the same kind of situation that we find ourselves in with Ekurhuleni. Number two, that also is on slide 4 and is my hobby horse. This amplifies most clearly why the need for an immovable asset register is so important. I understand that the erroneous transfer of land may have happened 20 years ago, but the arguments that ensued were because we did not have an accurate immovable asset register that could say earth such and such, portion such and such does actually belong to the DPWI, or it belongs to city of Ekurhuleni, and therefore a transfer needs to take place. And so we had this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It also speaks to the non-operationalization of the PMTE. I have said many a time that the property management trading entity is not a trading entity. it's only a property management entity because it's not operationalized. And as the department, everything has to be done to operationalize the PMTE into a trading entity so that it actually functions the same way that other property management entities operate, and they become efficient and actually do their job, because they would know what the problems were before it reached the point that it had reached with Ekurhuleni as it stands. Again, another hobby horse of mine. The stand is currently over 3,000 square meters. Is this sufficient to cater to the needs of the Brackendowns citizens? Must an alternative site be sought? Has a UAMP been done? Is a UAMP going to be done? Because that is a prerequisite for Gioma, and it needs to be done properly, and we need to ensure that the DPWI sticks to its mandate of ensuring that a comprehensive user asset management plan is done between the DPWI and the client department so that we don't have a problem going forward. A letter had to be issued to the city of Ekurhuleni on the 23rd of May. Was that actually done? And I know that you say that work can begin as early as 3 weeks' time, 4 weeks' time, as soon as the council resolution takes place. But why is the legal prerequisite that it's only going to be formalized in June 2025? I don't understand the legalities of it. If someone can please explain it to me, because we as South Africans cannot be put into a situation where the citizens of Brackendowns suffer because a situation of not of their making is going to make them victims for so long. I will leave it there. Thank you so much. And thank you very much to the department for being proactive and actually getting together with police and with Ekurhuleni for coming together. Thank you, DDG, Acting DDG. I appreciate your work immeasurably.
Thank you, Honorable Hicklin. Honorable Siwisa.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone. Chair, I'm also going to, I'll start with this thing of, I want to ask the department, when did they realize actually that the land, the property belonged to them? Because we've never heard of the property belonged to them and then it was transferred to city of Ekurhuleni. Now it's going to take about 3 years for the property to go back to the city, to the Department of Public Works. Whereas we are still sitting, I didn't hear any solution from the side of the Department of Public Works to say, how are we going to solve the issue of people of Brakendown being accommodated in a small venue where they can't even get many people into the police station? We still don't have a solution to that one. The only thing I heard is about the property must go back to the Department of Public Works. Is going to take us another 2 to 3 years to finalize. So we are speaking about a national department and a municipality, where I get the feeling that the Department of Public Works is not in the people of Brackendowns serious here. Because I was expecting to get a solution to say this is what's going to happen. And what were the reason to start off with for the Department of Public Works to give the property over to the city of Ekurhuleni for the housing of a police station? And then giving over, that is which I always say, you know, the Department of Public Works is working at a loss. So you had a property, you give it over to the city of Ekurhuleni, and now you are paying the city of Ekurhuleni. Whereas you had the property, you are giving it over to somebody else, and then you are paying the person again to rent the property back from them. And now you are telling us it is going to take you until 2025 to finalize the transfer of the property to the Department of DPWI. So there's no solution here, Chair. I want to be honest, there's no solution that has been given to us today. Because as we know how the Department of Public Works is operating, they're going to take forever. Even if in that 2025, we are going to be still here and we are going to be told that the transfer has not been finalized because of the following things happened. So DPWI needs to take people of Brackendowns serious and all over South Africa actually, because the rate of crime is very high. Anyway, Chemna, I'm not surprised because they can't even finish the national quotas of SAPS, the same DPWI that is here that is supposed to give all sister departments a place to work in. They haven't finished telecom towers. It's almost, I don't know how many years. So what guarantee do we have today that they're even going to finalize this one that we are having? If they can't finalize where all the decisions of SAPS are taking place, where the Minister of Police and the National Commissioner have to be housed for them to be able to operate on their day-to-day duties to make sure that South Africa is protected. So there's no solution that was given here today. We were just given a report as if it's, the meeting said, by the way, and I'm going to say it, some of the things that DPWI is doing, they're doing it by the way we have to do them. It's not because of we love South Africans and we want to give South Africans a solution. So Chair, I want to know what were the reasons that DPWI in the first place gave the property to City of Ekurhuleni? And again, also what Honorable Hickling is saying, why is it going to take so long to finalize a transfer? And what are the financial impacts that this thing is going to have on City of Ekurhuleni? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Suisa, Honorable Trink, followed by Honorable Van Schalkwyk.
Thank you, Chair. I think, Chair, like yourself, the ACDP wants to appreciate the fact that the different departments were able to get together to at least find a way forward. I think, like my previous colleagues, it is telling and quite stark that it had to take this long for Public Works, the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, to realize that there was an error in transferring of properties some few years ago. Like the Honorable Hickling had indicated, and I think that every member of this particular portfolio committee needs to continue to speak about the challenges of our asset register. And I've raised the issues as well as often as I could in as many of my speeches as possible. And so, Minister, I think that this again speaks to the necessity of having a credible asset register, because one can imagine the amount of properties that actually belong to Public Works, but Public Works has actually been paying a rental on those particular properties which are actually theirs. So herein lies my first question. If the property then is actually Public Works, and Public Works has actually been paying a lease to the City of Ekurhuleni, is there going to be some form of reimbursement? Otherwise, that one may also be seen as fruitless and wasteful expenditure, I think, on the part of Public Works and Infrastructure. I think my second point, Chair, is with regards to making some kind of accommodation for the residents of Brackenfell, where there are challenges at the police station. The police station in Marienridge, for example, has its park homes, its prefabs that can be moved, and it's been like that from the 1990s to date. The residents of Marienridge, Marion Heights have been waiting for, and surrounding areas, Dasenhoek, Nchelenyama, Mbola, been waiting for a police station, properly built police station from the 1990s to date. I had to go and get a document which from the police station. And essentially it needed someone to be almost like an investigator, because the files were dumped in a particular room, scattered all over the floor. And it took almost 2 days for the person to find my document when I was involved in, and my vehicle was stolen. And I needed proof that I'd actually reported it. So these are the conditions that our policemen and women actually have to work under, where there are no proper facilities. So not only is it an indictment to the public, but it is also an indictment, I think, to the policemen and women who have to work in subhuman conditions. But I think that what could possibly done in the interim, while we are waiting for the transfer to take place, and then for building to commence, is that Park Home, an additional office, even if it is a temporary structure, be put in, so that you have sufficient place for the policemen and the public to get to. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Shring. Honorable Van Schalkwyk.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I'm in the middle of load shedding and I'm struggling with connectivity, so I'm not going to open my video. But good morning, Chairperson and members, and all the role players present in this meeting. I also want to join my previous members in appreciating the joint report that has been presented to us. It's just a matter of clarification, Chairperson. There's some kind of discrepancy in terms of the date that the role players made. On slide 4, it indicates the date as the 23rd of May, and on slide 5, the 22nd of May. Can we just get an indication of which is the correct date in this regard? Then, Chairperson, it was in terms of the erroneous transfer to City of Ekurhuleni, and it's been mentioned that the list of properties to be transferred was submitted in 2018. So my question in this regard would be, is this property also part of the list of properties that was indicated to be transferred back as being submitted in 2018? Or did they only realize now, hence the long timeline of up until June 2025, where the final transfer of land will be done? So I need some clarification in that regard. Then, Chairperson, I also want to know, what is the plan that the role players have in ensuring that proper service delivery will take place in terms of delivering services to our people in the interim, whilst they are still managing this process? Then a previous member asked, what is the financial impact on SAPS in this regard? But I want to know, what is the financial impact on the DPWI in terms of this prolonged transfer? Then, Chairperson, on slide 4, there's an indication. We remember it has been reported to us about that huge amount of more than R1 million that is being owed to the DPW or to the City of Ekurhuleni. And now on slide 4, they are indicating there's a processing of payment to the City of Ekurhuleni that was done on a monthly basis. I just need some clarification. If there was a processing, does that mean that the money was received by the City of Ekurhuleni, or was there a problem of finally distributing the money or paying the money to the City of Ekurhuleni? Once more, it's a point of concern that a property that was supposed to be a property of DPWI, they have to pay a rental now payment to the city, and it's just a funny state of affairs to me, Chairperson. So I need some clarification in that regard, and we really need to establish, Chairperson, in terms of the immovable asset register, all those properties that were listed and the list being submitted in 2018, is all these properties now belonging to City of Ekurhuleni, or is some of them on the asset register already of the DPWI, if we can get an indication of that. Then the final transfer, Chairperson, of the property to the DPWI is there no way that the process can be fast-tracked? Because we know DPWI can't do anything in terms of building methods if the property is not finally transferred back to them. But yet again, I also want to join the previous speaker who raised the concern that if we look at how big the property is, would we then say that it will be the space will be enough, or if the space won't be enough, can't they start looking for alternative land to make sure that this indeed takes place, the building of the police station? Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Van Skalbeck. I don't know, Honorable Hicklin, this hand, is it maybe you forgot something, or is it a legacy hand?
No, Chair, I did forget something, and if you would indulge me, just 2 more points.
Oh, okay. Okay, I still have to read
So much.
Honorable Silo's question. Okay.
Okay, no, I have 2 very small questions. The first is, can the DPWI track for us how the erroneous transfer actually happened? I find it fascinating that land was erroneously transferred from one group, from the DPWI to the city of Ekurhuleni, and now there is a mess. And the second is that we have to now, DPWI now has to build a police station. We have the best kept secret in the world. It's called Agrimar SA. Agrimar SA has innovative building techniques, innovative building methods. Is Agrimar SA, any of their innovative building techniques and innovative building products, eco-labeling, green technology, going to be considered by our very own department, which owns which owns Agrimar SA, going to be considered? Please. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Hicklin.
Chairperson, sorry, I just the very last one.
Okay.
So, the code is dealing with us. We are very slow this morning. Chairperson, I want to get into that issue of the Hanekom Commission that the presenter referred to. I want to know, can we get some indication or clarification on when the commission was established, what was its objective, and on what date did the commission publish its report and recommendations? And after the publishing of the recommendations, how far are they with the implementation of the recommendations, and which recommendations has been implemented? And then, Chairperson, the issue of I know they indicated that the transfer would be free, but then they speak further down on conveyancing attorney, is that person not going to be paid, and to which account, or whose account, which department's account will that money then be? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Van Schalkwyk. I was just going to say one thing, Minister, about this portfolio committee is that it fights for all the entities of this department. We have said this is not the first time that Honorable Hicklin is saying this, that when you do new structures, what about using the one that have been approved by an entity that you have, which Agrima SA, that talks of innovative building technology. So I think we need to look at that. It's something that we also said that if you want to deal with the prefabs and asbestos roof that is in Acacia Park, you can build houses here within 3 months using the innovative building technology that we have seen being displayed by Agrima SA. And you are going to hear us tomorrow saying that you have an entity that has delivered in many departments. It's delivering in justice, it's delivering in education, which is IDT, and you are not using. So as this portfolio committee, we are going to fight for the entities that you have in your department, that they are utilized by this department. The question of Honorable Silo, who has flu and his voice is very, very hoarse. I will read it as it is. I just want to check with the department in terms of who in the PMTE is responsible for these properties. Can we be finished with who exactly knows? Because the officials are paid to know and act according to that knowledge. That is a question from Honorable Sihlolo, who is in the meeting but cannot speak because of flu. Let me again appreciate that City of Ekurhuleni, SAPS, and the department officials managed to meet and come up with this, and also tried to tease some of the issues that were glaring, showing that they are not meeting. Remember, the city was saying the department is not paying, the department was saying we are paying, but today you are coming up with something that is saying you are paying and you started this. This issue of land being erroneously transferred and the department not knowing about that, studies being conducted 2018, 2022, it really exposes how the department is failing to do its work. Two, it also leaves us with many questions. We have raised this, Minister, even before you came in, that in our areas that we're coming from, there are many buildings that are supposed to be owned by the National Department of Public Works and Infrastructure that are now dens of criminals because they are not being utilized. And my question is, are those not properties that were erroneously transferred? The department not knowing, the municipality not knowing, because here it shows clearly that the department was not aware, the municipality was not aware. It raises a lot of questions, this issue, and the fact that how many, if we can really sit down, how many can we say you have such questions? And it goes back to the issue of immovable asset register. It's something that we saw because it was raised when we came in, the very first meeting that we had. Auditor General raised an issue about the immovable asset register. We were then told we Archibas, whatever. But this exactly shows that we have an immovable asset register that is not maintained, that is in a chaos, if I may just put it crudely. Because how can we be here not knowing that these properties have been transferred, not knowing that these properties we own? Because we are talking about a property, and I believe that the department wants to do what is correct there to ensure that there is a police station that is fine, that is in today's standards. I think the dates, to me, I'm supporting my colleagues that are saying that the dates, they are a bit far for this process to be done by 2025, finalized by 2025. To me, it is a bit far, because the reality, we need to have places where it is easy to report crime, places where it is easy for those that are there to quickly go out if a crime is reported, to attend to that. So 2025 to me is a bit far, and knowing the situation from the pictures that were shown to us of what is the situation in that police station, because I believe that you will only be able to develop that area after 25, after everything has been done. So I think we need to maybe look at moving the dates a little bit back. We appreciate that we're talking about September 2023, but I think in this case, it's something between government and government, because City of Ekurhuleni is government, but in the local sphere. So I think let's try to make things happen immediately or in a short space of time. Over to you, Minister, and your team. And I think in this instance, even the City of Ekurhuleni and SAPS may come in some of the questions that have been raised by members.
Mornings, Chair.
Yes, Lwazi.
The minister was kicked out, but Pinenda Mfaka, Chair, he is in the meeting.
Okay, maybe it would be better if acting DG would be the one who to start with the responses. Maybe Minister will come in at the end.
Yes, yes, Chairperson, I can come through. As you said, Chair, that some of the questions our colleagues at SAPS and City of Ekurhuleni will assist. Honorable Hicklin, the issue of money, whether or not we're still owing the city money, I think we're still busy with the reconciliation. We've provided the City of Ekurhuleni with remittances as far back as 2003. So it's a matter of an account number that we were using to pay. Therefore, it was not properly allocated. That exercise is still ongoing. And also with the lease of 2019 that is ending 2028, according to a lease agreement, our escalation rate is 7%. Ekurhuleni was charging us at 8%. So there's also that reconciliation that needs to happen. So I'm confident that we are not owing the City of Ekurhuleni any money, but let us rather wait for the reconciliation process. The team has agreed to continue to meet. So in an essence, we have a task team now that is dedicated to resolving this matter. I agree with honorable members in terms of the timelines. June 2025 is rather generous, but I think all the colleagues that were involved were trying to err on the side of caution, because there are certain processes that are beyond us, or at least beyond our control as officials. Instead, for instance, if we're gonna allow council to take the resolution, we may not have I don't know what's the right word. We may not be able to speed up that process ourselves, but however, maybe with some intervention from the committees, we could have an earlier resolution. But that will be something that we can agree on, Chairperson. We did give a generous timeline, and I agree with that. June 2025 is rather out. However, we did say that as soon as we get the resolution, the City of Ekurhuleni will give us permission to occupy, so that even when the process of actual transfer is happening in the background, we're able to start the project. The issue of the extent of the building, the 3,000 square meters, as far as I understand, Honorable Hicklin, that is the size of the actual structure. I'm not sure of the extent of the land, but we can get that for the members so that we can understand if there's expansion, we will be able to expand on the existing property. The letter to Ekurhuleni, Honorable Hicklin, it was actually sent on the date that was mentioned in the presentation. The issue about the UMP. The UMP that we currently have had the property as a leased property. After this engagement, obviously, it will have to then change going forward to be a property to be acquired, or at least to be transferred back to the department. The R293 properties, or the properties that were erroneously transferred to municipalities back then, is a process that is ongoing, Chairperson, and it is due to the work of the immovable asset register team that then starts to expose these inefficiencies that happened in the past. But the asset register, in our view, is not a static document or a static system. It's something that will have to be updated as and when things like this are picked up. But it is because of the engagement of the asset register team that we're able to pick up this type of properties. But it's something that we're working on. Chairperson, we don't have a final answer yet, but it is a developing process that we are engaging on as a department, and we should be able to finalize as and when we go. It was actually highlighted during the time when the department started engaging various municipalities on the debt that is owed to the municipality. So during those engagements, this type of thing started to surface. I'm not sure if I missed anything. My colleagues will assist. If I missed anything. Colleagues, Maurice, I don't know if I missed anything from your side.
Okay, through you, Chair, I think we need to clarify the issue of the dates of meeting. The dates of meeting, we met on the 22nd of May. However, the date that which was mentioned of the 23rd in other slide, it was a different date where colleagues from Public Works in the region had to meet Ekurhuleni just for reconciliations and comparing notes in terms of the area rental. Otherwise, the date for the meeting of the three entities, Public Works, Ekurhuleni, as well as SAPS, happened on the 22nd. And then the other part, I can't remember the honorable member that raised it, was around the issue of the concern about the fact that we will do this in 2025. It is not correct that the time frame, because all what we are saying that once the council resolution has been secured by Ekurhuleni, which is anticipated to be received at least not later than February 2024, then we would request a permission to occupy and build. Therefore, we want to wait for the entire process of the transfer of land. There is what we normally call the PTOB. And then that PTOB would actually assist us in terms of starting the processes, that which would actually assist us in terms of what we need to deliver on that specific site. And then also the other thing, once that council resolution is granted, it also then implies that the property is Public Works, And therefore, the money can actually now be prioritized from the side of SAPS in terms of the capital works budget, the repairs and renovations, if there's any renovations, because all along the condition was deteriorating because Ekurhuleni didn't have sufficient money to maintain the property or to do repairs and renovations to the property, because it was all along leased from them and then we're paying rental to them. But the minimal amount that which we're paying was not sufficient for them to do all what they needed to do to ensure that the property is kept at a desired condition. Thank you, Chair and DG.
Chairperson, I see Major General Sitole from SAPS who would like to add something.
Okay.
I'm in a parliamentary session. I'll call you when I'm done. I'm in a parliamentary session. I'll call you when I'm done.
Chairperson. Honorable members, if we may allow Major General Sitole to add. I'm not sure if the chairperson can hear us.
Okay. Yes, we can. I can hear you clearly.
Thanks.
We will, yeah. Major General Sitole.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning to the Minister and all the members of the committee. I just wanted to clarify or to add that yes, Brakenstown was part of the list that was submitted because initially, when we had the meeting with engagement with our minister, we identified that all the properties that were leased from the municipalities were not maintained and the conditions were deteriorating each and every time. And we then consolidated the list and submitted to DPW for them to initiate the process of the acquisition, whether buying or whatever. Though we were not aware at that time that this type of information that we're providing now will surface. That was the first issue, because Brakenstown is one of those that are problematic. Then number two, I think I heard one of the members indicating that the rental that was paid then to the municipality means then it will be fruitless and wasteful expenditure for the Department of Public Works. But I just wanted to indicate that in terms of the devolution of budgets, the money that DPW pays is recouped from the SAPS.
Sure.
Is recouped from the department, the Department of Police. So we have also since 19 whatever, when it was the lease agreement was entered into, we have been paying for that lease rentals back to DPW. Thank you. And then I just wanted to also to indicate that this is not the problem of Brakenstown only. We have a west condition in Guatemala, which also the feasibility study was done. But I think there was an issue with Ekurhuleni in terms of the land that was identified in terms of that report. So it is not only Brakenstown, but I think we have got a worse scenario in Guatemala also, and I think the chairperson mentioned Acacia. So those are the ones that I think if in terms of what the acting DDG has said, if the issue of the acquisition or the bringing back of those properties is accelerated, then we'll be able to can reap the benefits and ensure that those buildings or facilities are actually, the condition is changed in terms of the repairs and renovations that need to be done. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Major General Sitole. Anyone from the city of Ekurhuleni?
Thank you, Chair. May I come in?
Yes.
Good morning, Chair, and the honorable members of the committee. My name is Khotso from Ekurhuleni. There are a few things that I wanted to perhaps respond to, Chair, as a result of questions raised by the honorable members. The first one being money owed by the public works. Yes, in our meeting, a decision was taken that what we actually discovered was that yes, indeed, public works has been paying, but it was paying in the wrong account of Nedbank, and we had since changed our banking to ABSA. So that is also being addressed. So indeed, yes, they were paying. And then the other issue that we also needed to look into is how best can we, expedite the process. Normally your typical lease agreement would have a provision of consent if you want to build a permanent structure. We'll also look into that and see to what extent can we sort of perhaps maybe invoke that provision so that we can allow public works to start working on the land portions whilst we are running a parallel process of getting council consent, because the consent component is actually more of an administrative action. It does not need the council to provide. Your HOD would have a delegation to do that. But that process will run parallel with the report that will be sponsoring to council. The period that we have given of 2024, to colleagues in the public works was actually get more towards sort of allowing time, because there are a number of committees in municipalities where in the event where there's land involved, those committees are then required to look into the reports and the likes. It may be even earlier than 2024, but we just allowed ourselves space so that in the event where there are delays, at least we still have time. And then the last one was who will be taking the responsibility for the transfer cost and all those things. Chair, obviously the report that will be sponsoring to council will be more of a donation, so the actual amount of value of the land would not be an issue. But however, we will be recommending that the public works actually incur the cost for such a donation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Khotso. Any other response, Ms. Makubela?
Chairperson, I think from our side, we have tried to answer. Unless we missed anything, honorable members will indicate if there's a question that we missed. But for now, we're good, Chairperson. Thank you very much.
I will then take follow-up questions from the honorable members. Honorable Van Schalkwyk.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think I omitted in recognizing the presence and greeting our minister. Good morning, Minister. But Chairperson, my question regarding the commission, the Anacom Commission, was not answered. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Van Schalkwyk. Honorable Sewisa.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, this thing is very difficult. I'm even I don't know how to say this, but I want to ask, because there's someone who spoke from City of Ekurhuleni. Because in their last presentation, they said that the Department of Public Works is owing them. And now he says that the money, apparently the money was paid into the wrong account. Now, my question would be, before these allegations could be made that DPWI is actually owing them, were there any previous communications? And the Chair, the thing of money being put into wrong accounts, it's and the Department of Public Works doesn't do any follow-up to make sure that it's the correct account that has been used. One day it's going to get them into big trouble, because money is going to get into people's accounts that you don't know who they are, if they can't verify if the account that they are using is the correct one. Two, the issue of transfer of properties to municipalities. I think the acting DG, I stand to be corrected. The acting DG says it's a continuous process. Now, I don't see the logic of transferring property to municipalities when you yourself, as the Department of Public Works, are in a shortage of hosting sister departments. So is the process still continuous, and what are the reasons for transfer of property to municipalities? Because this issue of City of Ekurhuleni and the Department of Public Works of property that was given to COE, and then now they want it back because somebody has raised issues about the police station. If there was no issue of police station that was raised, there was never going to be talks of property being taken back to the Department of Public Works. And I think here we are speaking of the highest people that know legalities of transfers, unless it's a question of whoever is going to deal with the transfers and everything doesn't understand. Because the issue to say that the municipality is going to get, because you just need to write a letter and this thing is going to be discussed, the municipality will have to make a decision whether they give you the property back or not. So that thing, it shouldn't even be taken, say, 2 years. Unless you're saying there are other things that we don't know what is happening. But if a motion is brought to a municipality or a letter is brought to the municipality via the office of the speaker to say that the Department of Public Works wants their property back, and then it's for discussion in council, then a decision needs to be taken by council. And now my question is, if the City of Ekurhuleni comes back and says that we are not giving you back your property, what alternatives does the Department of Public Works have to resolve the issue of Brackendowns residents? Thank you, Chair.
Can we then respond? Honorable Hicklin, is your hand up?
It is, Chair.
Okay, over to you.
I just want to, first of all, there has been no response to my best kept secret in South Africa, and that's Agrima. Second of all, Chair, I really and truly want to impress upon the department that it is a prerequisite of GIAMA that there is regular communication between the DPWI and its user departments. The gentleman from Khotso from Ekurhuleni said that the bank account changed from Nedbank to ABSA. How can the DPWI not know about that change? They are client user departments. How does a bank account change and we don't know about that change, and money continues to get deposited into an account that in effect could possibly be changed or closed? I also want to draw attention to a statement that is made on slide 7 of the DPWI Ekurhuleni and SAPS presentation that says the DPWI will review the valuation report through the Land Affairs Board and a date time frame to determine once the evaluation from the municipality is received. This leads one to believe that there is more land that is in question than just the police station. What other land is there that is in question that could be referred to in this document? It's concerning that there could be other land in Ekurhuleni that could be affected that is more than just this police station, or am I reading too much into it? I'll leave it there. Thank you, Chair.
Ms. Makubela?
All right. Thank you, Chairperson. I think let me start with the last question from Honorable Hicklin. the earlier bullets do indicate that there's a list that SAPS has provided for all the properties that they would like us to acquire from the city of Ekurhuleni. So indeed, there is more. Although the initial request was submitted in 2018, as Major General Sithole has confirmed, but right now he also indicated that there's Guatemala Police Station, which is in a worse situation than the one that we're discussing today. But then it's a list of properties that we would like to procure. As a general rule, all over the country, all the leases that we have with municipalities, the rental that we pay is minimal, and therefore the properties are not maintained properly. And therefore, with SAPS, we're having this conversation to say, how do we then bring those particular properties to public works so that we can then upgrade the facilities, or at least be able to invest money in maintenance of such facilities. So with the city of Ekurhuleni, we're just taking advantage of the fact that we have this task team already, and we're going to facilitate that all these properties are dealt with in that in that line. The issue of agreement, Honorable Hicklin, I agree with you. We would like to have a conversation around that, but there's a lot of consideration, obviously, that we'll have to take in. We have to consider because of the nature of services that SAPS provides, and if such material or alternative material that we can use for SAPS facilities, I think SAPS will have to take it through their own processes and approve that we can use such. If it can, indeed, we would be very happy to implement because Agrema is our entity, and as Public Works, we should be leading the cost of using alternative building material. Chairperson, there's the question about the honeycomb delegation. We erroneously call it a honeycomb commission. It's called the honeycomb delegations and the R293 properties. We have a colleague from our immovable asset register who is on the platform sitting with Maurice, and he'll be able to assist. Mr. Pretorius, please come through.
Thank you, Chair. Honourable Minister, honourable members, Chairperson for you. Just to clarify the so-called Derek honeycomb delegations. Back in the day, 1997, 1998, former Minister Derek Honeycomb of the Department of Land Affairs donated all the so-called R293 townships of 1962 via a delegation to the different municipalities for the main purpose to upgrade the townships registers and to open the township registers in order to provide title deeds to the people that stays in the different houses in the townships. Now, when the township was transferred, it was transferred in what we call in lock, stock and barrel. The whole township was transferred because the township registers was not open. But what is very important, and remember that it didn't just happen in Ekurhuleni, it happened in the whole country, but it was critical in the delegations. There was a clause that indicated that all the state domestic functions, both national as well as provincial, must be transferred back to the state as soon as these township registers are open. And that delegation is clear. It says it must be transferred back gratis, free of charge. And that is why these properties needs to be transferred back to the state in order, that we can reconcile our asset registers. So that is just a small background. It was done by former Minister Honeycomb by purpose in order to upgrade tenure, especially for housing purposes, and to open the township registers. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chairperson. Back to you.
Thank you, Acting DG and the team for these responses. I think you have not really answered Honourable Van Skarbeek's question. I will ask her to repeat it because she has raised her hand again. Honourable Van Skarbeek.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think, Chairperson, it might be unfair towards the department in this regard if I keep on prompting this question. So I would request that they give us all the relevant details through a written submission to the committee, so that we can really be on par of what happened in terms of their delegation and what was the impact, and including the recommendations that has been made, and which recommendations has been implemented by the department till date. Then, Chairperson, I have a concern in terms of if it's now been realized that there's been properties erroneously being transferred to municipalities from the DPWI side, and it was not supposed to be done. It raised a concern to myself if it's now pertaining to the city of Ekurhuleni, how many properties in the rest of the country should actually belong to the department, which has erroneously been transferred to the municipalities, and what happened to those properties. It's a great point of concern. So I would like to urge the department to take a deep look into this issue, do a proper analysis, and report back to us on this issue, because we might be sitting on a time bomb, or on a bomb that will explode sometime, because we know that we need land for public use, and that's why we have the clause in the expropriation bill. And if needs be, Chairperson, if we look at the timeline that's so long, as from 2018, and we talk about 2025, we need to then look at the other avenues on how to bring back that properties to the department. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Van Schalkwyk. Ms. Makubela?
We'll take that, Chairperson, under advisement. We'll provide such a report in detail. Thank you so much, Honorable Van Schalkwyk. We will do so. Thanks.
Honorable Minister? Is the minister still around, or we lost him again?
Yeah, I think his microphone is open, but he keeps getting kicked out of the meeting. Perhaps he's got a challenge with reception. The deputy minister is also on the platform. I see Honorable Ms. Swart is on the platform as well.
Honorable TM, so that we round for this.
Good morning, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. Honorable Chair, I think that the Minister is back on again. I have not been part of the whole meeting, so I would maybe allow the Minister to talk, because I see that he's back again on, I don't know, maybe he's struggling, but I have not been part of the whole meeting because I'm preparing to travel. So I was joining on and off, Honorable Chair. So I think that it would be incorrect for me to close off a meeting that I have not been part of throughout the whole process. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. It's because we couldn't get the minister. If the minister is back, Minister, can you round off the responses from the department?
Thank you, Chair. My apologies. I don't know what happened with my gadgets. I would like to apologize that I got cut, but I wish to thank all members who have made contributions on the matter. I think the first point that was made, which I would like to comment on, is constant engagement with the user department. And I think that is fair. and we will have to ensure that we sustain that constant engagement, including ensuring that if there are changes, whether it's bank account or whatsoever, that is taken into cognizance with speed. Secondly, I think we were, as reported by Acting DG, the issue of the asset register, of course, it is a moving target, but we need to implement it and ensure that it is there and comprehensively so. I would not agree more with you, Chair, and Honorable Hicklin on the use of Agrima SA. I think we will have to expedite, not to expedite per se, but we will need to consolidate our approach, synergize. It is the entity within the department, efficient, and it does need to be engaged. We can't be going out to others or do things while they are there, they can do it. I think the issue of PMT overall is the main issue that we will have to also ensure that it becomes a trading entity in effect, in a way that is practical and meaningful. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Minister. We would one on the questions not responded to as the one of Honorable Van Schalkwyk. Can we get the return reply sent to the acting secretary to the committee, then now we will share it with Honorable Van Schalkwyk as how the protocols of the portfolio committee goes, because the question was asked here. So we would like that to be done within 7 days. But honorable members, honorable minister and your team, the city of Ekurhuleni and SAPS, what is the committee on what Honorable Bodlani sent to us is to echo the sentiments of that community, that it needs a properly functional police station. So as the portfolio committee, we share their sentiment. But we have seen that there is this issue of the ownership, which we have cleared with us, the issue of the list, which you have tried to clear with us. What as the committee would then propose is that, in fact, we have said that try to shorten the issue of time. That community needs the police station. So if you are going to follow the timelines that you have sent to us, it means it will take a long time for that police station to be up. To also try to resolve this issue of the ownership. The property erroneously given to City of Ekurhuleni, the feasibility studies that you have done, I think the minister is clear, is clear on this one. The issue of the assets, immovable asset management register, because if we had no issues, we would not be discussing this. We would be discussing how do you resolve that issue. We're also happy that today the city of Ekurhuleni has agreed in a way that it has been receiving some money from the department, because last time they were clear that the department is owing them. So we really appreciate that there is such appreciation that there is money. But I think ours as the portfolio committee, a police station, a conducive environment where people can report their cases, where police can work, it's what is needed for that community. I think that one is something that we cannot stop echoing. But this one, it must the departments must sort its issues, especially when it relates to properties. I think it's not only this one, Minister. I think you're getting letters left and right when it comes to properties of the department, which means the property management and trading entity must sort its issues. There are many properties out there that are supposed to be owned by the department, but when you go there, you hear this and this and this. I also remember when you were presenting the budget vote speech, Minister, you talked on the department following up on some of the properties that have been taken wrongly by people and maybe some groups taking government properties. So if we can follow that up, I think there's a lot that can be resolved. People need land out there. There's land, but it's in the wrong hands, and the land that is owned by the department. Thank you so much for the presentations and the responses, hoping that we will then get the written responses within 7 days to assist us with the report that we have to submit to Parliament on this issue of this petition. Thank you, City of Ekurhuleni, SAPS, Department, Minister and Deputy Minister for your time. Thank you so much. Honorable members, I think we have another item that we have to deal with. We may release you other members, Minister and your team. Honorable members, I think we have the second item in terms of our agenda, in which we have to adopt the minutes of our previous meeting. Honorable members, those are the meetings. Those are the minutes of the last meeting that we held, in which we were dealing with the third and fourth quarter performance report. Any corrections? Any corrections in terms of what is in the minutes? Are we all captured properly in terms of those that attended? In the absence of that, the minutes are reflecting what we discussed. So can we have a mover for the adoption of these minutes as a true reflection of what we discussed in our last meeting?
Chair.
I move for adoption, Chair.
Sorry, Chair, just in the actual minute notes, the apologies are noted under there where Honorable Sihlolo apologized, but somewhere under apologies number 4, his name does not appear. We need to have consistency, Chair. If you see you have apologies noted, the apologies tendered from Honorable Van Staden, Jobo and Mokhoto. We need to put Honorable Sihlolo in there if you have the apologies of the others.
Can we correct that? I think the apology that is supposed to be reflected there, it's one of Honorable Sihlolo. We didn't get the apology of Honorable Mokhoto, but we also need to sort out this issue. We understand that Honorable Mokhoto attended our oversight because Honorable Siwisa was not available at the time, and a member was sent. But in terms of the alternate, Honorable Sokoto has not yet been recognized as an alternate member. Or are you sorting that, Honorable Siwisa? But it needs to be
ATC'd.
ATC, so that we can all sit. Honorable Siwisa, can you assist us on this one?
Yes, Chair. I'll speak to the WIPARI, but as you are saying that Honorable Mukhoto was only there to assist with the oversight because I did not have an alternate. Because she's actually an alternate at basic education, which is always clashing with this one. That is why most of the time she won't be able to attend meetings of public works. But the last time when I spoke to WIPARI was that she must focus on basic education. She was only coming over so that there should be somebody from EFF to go on oversight. So if there's any communication that needs to be done by WIPARI chair, I'll make a follow-up so that she must be officially removed.
Okay. Thank you so much, Honorable Siwisa. I think you are assisting us on this matter because in terms of ATC, her name is not yet there. Honorable members of the Portfolio Committee, thank you so much for your constructive engagement on this issue. I think as this Portfolio Committee, one thing that I like is us having the best interests for people of South Africa and also for directing the department to go in the right direction. I really appreciated your point, Honorable Hicklin, on the issue of Agrima SA. I think it's something that we must not stop hammering on the department utilizing its own entities. Agrima SA for innovative building technologies, IGT for the implementation of some of projects that it is currently handling. These entities were there for a cause. We can't let them go down when we are here and playing our oversight role. So I really appreciate we always reminding them that they have an alternative when it comes to building. They have an implementing agent when it comes to their project. Thank you so much, honorable members. We'll meet later today in the plenary. I think we could.
Chair, sorry, Chair, the minutes were not adopted. Sorry, Chair.
We just discussed them. Okay.
Chairperson.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Honorable Calvey.
Yes, Chair, just a final amendment, Chairperson, on point 7. There's 2 honorables before my surname. So if the one can just
doubly honorable, Sir.
Yes, okay. I'm so honorable, and I'm really
Lwazi, correct that. It's just
with that, I'm moving for adoption, Chairperson.
Okay.
And Chair, I thought you were going to say, in the absence of the Honorable Graham Murray, we will adopt the minutes.
You know that Honorable Graham Murray is no longer a member of this committee. Honorable, can I get a seconder? The one who seconds Honorable Van Schalkwyk for us to adopt the minutes.
I'll second, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Hicklin. We then the minutes are adopted. We all know that Honorable Graham Murray would move for the adoption of the minutes, so that's why he's doing this. Thank you so much, Honorable members. Let's meet later in the plenary. But I think we also have time to join the mini plenaries that are currently sitting on. Our meeting has at least ended earlier on, so I think let's go and join those mini plenaries and then join the plenary later today. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you, Chair. Bye, colleagues.
Bye.
Recording stopped.